So this is a recommendation. I heard that you were looking for some help or some guidance in how to vote in the upcoming WA state election, and specifically in your electorate of Cockburn. So I'm just going to be going through my suggestions, a bit of my rationality behind that. But before we get into that, hi, I'm Will. I've been doing politics stuff since basically year 7. I've been involved in last year's election in campaigning. I read political science and theory for fun, so you can probably find something useful in what I'm saying. My personal political ideas are out of the political scene, so I basically view this as a sport. So I'm coming from this from an outsider perspective and seeing what I think is the best for the community. I don't agree with basically any of these parties, but I'm showing you what I believe would be a responsible vote, and what would do the best by your community and for yourself. Okay. So before we go, how voting works in Australia, we basically have a system where you get 2 voting slips and you rank your choices on there. So it's not like America where you just put 1 vote, you rank them. So you're going to get given, I'm just going to go through this as if you've never voted before. You've probably voted before, but you get 2 nice pieces. You go down to the voting place, you get 2 nice pieces of paper. They'll have instructions on them. Please follow the instructions. If you don't follow the instructions correctly, your vote will be thrown out. And if you also have any questions, please ask the Electoral Commission staff. They're very nice. They're very helpful. I've had great experiences with them. So for the first slip of paper, which will be the nice small piece of paper, for you it's going to have a list of 5 names and 5 parties on there, and that's each name is going to be next to a party, and you're going to have to rank all of them, putting a 1 in the first box that you like, a 2 in the second most liked person, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to get a massive piece of paper that's about this wide, for the upper house, also known as the council. I forgot to mention that the lower house is also known as the assembly. And with that one, you're going to have 2 options on how to vote there, but we're going to get to that later. Okay, so here I've just got a list of the 5 candidates that are running in your local area. First, we have Voppy Velo from the Australian Christians, Brenda Graham Strook from the Greens Western Australia, David Scaife from West Australian Labor, Christopher Rennick from the Legalised Cannabis Party of Western Australia, and Beretta Di Russo from the Liberal Party of Western Australia. So a bit of background on these parties. Actually, no, let's go to my ranking first, and I'll just explain it from my ranking. I think that'll be much easier. So I've put Greens WA first, as I believe they're the most responsible party in terms of how they will take care of the West Australian economy, but also especially West Australian social policies. So whether that be taking care of the environment, which the Greens, taking care of childcare, workers' rights, as well as other social issues, including women's rights. They also have good economic policies about sustainable growth and making a lot of Australian corporations and people who don't really contribute to the Australian economy or through taxes to make sure that they're paying their fair share and that we can have a more prosperous WA together. I put them first. Next, I've put the Legalised Cannabis Party, and even if you aren't sure about your position on cannabis, they do have some good policies. They're very similar to the Greens in their social and economic policy, and I just think that they're more reliable than some of these other choices. I put WA Labor next. WA Labor is currently the ruling party. They're not screwing things up too terribly, but they're kind of just stuck. Like, they're not pushing forward in any way, and they're kind of just mulling over their previous successes and just they're not doing terribly great. But they are better than the other candidates on this list. For fourth, I've put the Liberal Party, and this is because their economic plan doesn't make very much sense. Their energy transition plan is all over the place, and especially some of their social views are quite backwards, especially their views on Aboriginal issues, where they've previously fought against the rights of Aboriginal people, and especially even if you didn't support The Voice, some of their rhetoric was quite racist, so I wouldn't vote for them any higher than their current position, and they've previously been in power and they didn't do a very good job. Now, I put the Australian Christians fifth. Now, even if you are a Christian, I'm not sure if you are, I don't really care about your religious beliefs. But the Australian Christians have a very radical interpretation of Christian doctrine, and they are quite dogmatic in their beliefs. So a lot of their beliefs surround excluding other religious groups and atheistic groups from public life, as well as forcing everybody through law to abide by Christian principles. And it doesn't matter if you are a Christian or you aren't, enforcing your beliefs on others is not a great thing. They also have very bad views on social areas, especially women's rights and gay rights. For example, they want to repeal all legal rights for gay people to get married, and some of their members have even considered recriminalizing homosexuality. Personally, as someone who is LGBT, that scares me a lot, and they have some very near-fascist beliefs or neo-Nazi beliefs, so I wouldn't suggest to anyone ever voting for them. So yeah. So back to how you vote. So if this was your ballot paper, it looks something like this. You'd put 1 next to the Greens, 2 next to legalised cannabis, 3 next to WA Labor, 4 next to the Liberals, and 5 versus Australian Christians. If you really didn't want to vote for legalised cannabis, you could put that 5th or 4th or 3rd. But I believe they deserve their position there. Okay, so the council is going to have a piece of paper that you vote on about 2 meters long, and it might even be double-sided. But these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 groups running. So as you can see, there's these 14 groups, and apart from the ungrouped, it works like this. If you vote above the line, you will vote for a party, such as you will put 1 next to the Greens, then 2 next to Labour, then 3 next to the Christians, or however you want to vote. There's also the option of voting below the line. This allows you to vote for ungrouped people, as well as specific members of parties. Now, I'd recommend voting below the line because I believe there's some independents that really deserve your vote. But it is a bit harder, and if you do choose to do that pathway, which I would encourage, I would, if you let me know, I'll send you a document or a piece of paper that would show you how to vote for specifically for that. And yeah. So we've got a lot of parties here. I'm not going to go into terribly too much detail about them, but I'm just going to give you my recommendations in that way. So option 2, okay, let's start with option 2. Option 2 being below the line. So on the piece of paper, it will say if you vote below the line, you need to at least write in, I think it's 15 to 20 numbers. Don't be scared by the large amount of numbers. How I believe you should vote in that one is to put a 1 next to this lovely lady. How do I do it? Oops, sorry about that. Jennifer McRae. She's done some really great work out of Parliament, especially for women's and Aboriginal rights, and she's great, and like she's done work before this, and she's done good stuff even outside of Parliament. So the work that she'd be able to do inside of Parliament, I believe, would be good. And then you'd put a number 2 next to Peter McLaren. He's also done some really good work outside of Parliament, especially for the rights of elderly people and making sure that they have their rights to what they want to do, especially in terms of voluntary assisted dying and other senior rights in that way. And then to fill out the rest of your mandatory line numbers, if you're voting below the line, I'd go the Greens and just number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 until you get to that number you need to. If you then have to keep writing numbers because you haven't reached that limit, then you could go legalize cannabis or the Animal Justice Party, because they do good work and they're very similar. And if you really wanted to, you could put Labour if you wanted to. If you're choosing to vote above the line, you do not have a minimum amount of parties you need to vote for, but you're unable to vote for independents. So I would if you chose to vote above the line, which is your choice, absolutely do as you like, I would put a 1 next to the Greens, a 2 next to AGP, a 3 next to legalized cannabis, a 4 next to the Labour, a 5 next to the Libertarians, 6th on the Nationals, and 7th on the Liberals. If you'd like me to go through those choices, I could, but I've already gone through some of them before, and it's similar rationale there. So my closing remarks, please feel free to send me a message, questions, give me a phone call if you like. I'm happy to talk about this. I find this stuff fun. So yeah, if you want me to send you like a document that you can take into the polling place and just copy it off there, I'm more than willing to do that. Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed that. This might be a bit long, but it's 12 minutes of your day, and it'll help you do your civic duty and make sure that your voice, that you get an educated choice in how your society is run. But yeah, thank you for watching. Yeah, if you've got any questions, just send them my way. Thank you.